Giants head coach Brian Daboll spoke to the media on Monday, and he fielded questions about whether he's lost the locker room and his coaching future with the franchise after this year's 2-9 start. Our New York Post sports columnist Steve Serby is on to talk all things Daboll. Serby, you have a trending article up on the Post as well. But hi, Serby. What's going on, my man? How you doing, man?
Oh, it's good, Brandon. How are you? Did you survive yesterday on the field?
I did, man, and a lot of frustration.
You had a better game than the Giants did by far.
Yeah, and that's why we're on to talk about not only Brian Daboll but just the Giants as a whole, man. Daboll was on today. He started with obviously the media asked him has he lost the locker room type question. So What's your takeaway and your thoughts on everything Daboll said today at his presser?
Well, I think he's on the brink of losing the locker room if he already hasn't lost it. But he said today on a conference call that I feel good about our communication with the players and with the coaches. But unfortunately for him, there was no sign of that on the field. Tommy DeVito was talking about how well the Giants practice from Monday through Saturday. Well, the games happen to be played usually on Sunday. The Giants need to look like a team on game day. 4 days ago or 5 days ago, Darius Slayton was in the locker room following the switch from Daniel Jones to DeVito rather than Drew Lock. And Slayton said, regarding the locker room, it's not imploding. Well, it imploded on Sunday on the field in front of those paying customers, the poor paying customers that had to watch that slop. Dexter Lawrence, we're soft. We played soft. Malik Neighbors, we played soft as blank. That doesn't bode well for Brian Daboll. And 6 straight losses, a team that can't rush the passer anymore, intercept the ball, tackle, block. This is a recipe. We've seen this before. It's a recipe for a coaching change, if not later, then sooner. Brian Daboll has his work cut out for him to grab this team by the throat if he possibly can and get them steered in the right direction, because right now it's the Titanic.
When you have guys like Malik Neighbors and Dexter Lawrence calling the team out, calling it soft, from the player standpoint, I feel like they're calling out players, not so much the head coach, because I think if a coach had lost the locker room, then you have a bad week of practice. You have a week where guys are letting the ball hit the ground. Guys are missing assignments. I think that's the reason why they were so frustrated after the game, because if you did have a good preparation week, and then you go and you lay an egg the way you did on Sunday, that could get anybody frustrated in terms of the players. And you're talking about Brian Daboll's coaching future. Have you heard anything, Serby, or is this just something where we're watching a 2-9 team kind of, if they implode or continue to put bad product out there on the field, then you're like the writing is on the wall?
Well, game day is all that matters, Brandon. I don't care how you practice from Monday through Saturday. If you lose the team on game day, then you've lost the team. So we've seen rock bottom before. Poor John Mara has seen rock bottom over and over since the waning days of Tom Coughlin. But what Brian Daboll needs right now is lieutenants in that locker room. Bill Parcells always had George Martin and Harry Carson. Brian Daboll needs Dexter Lawrence more than anyone. Dex is one of the 5 captains. Last year there were 10. But look at the leadership the Giants lost in that locker room. Saquon Barkley, Xavier McKinney, Daniel Jones was a leader. And now he's got 5 captains instead of 10. Dex is the most prominent captain. Bobby Okereke is another captain. Okereke said that we'll do a great job during the summer. So now let's see those leaders do a great job in the locker room. And Andrew Thomas was also one of the 5 captains, and of course he's on IR. So what bodes poorly, what will endanger Daboll more than anything at this point. Two things. Number one, a Thanksgiving Day game against the Cowboys at Jerry Jones' house on national TV. If the Giants put forth the effort they put forth on Sunday, that possibly could seal Brian Daboll's fate, as much as John Mara does not want to do it. The other thing is Wellington Mara, the late, great Wellington Mara, always used empty seats in December as a gauge as to what direction his franchise was going. And I suspect that come December 1, when the Seahawks come to MetLife Stadium, there will be many, many empty seats. And that will get John Mara's attention if a Thanksgiving Day game in Dallas does not. So remember what Mara said. John Mara said, I want to walk off the field at the end of the season feeling we're moving in the right direction. I want to see significant improvement. Yes, he gave Daboll and GM Joe Schoen a vote of confidence, but he reserves the right to change his mind.
December 1st is the Saints, followed by the Ravens coming into town. Then they go play the Falcons, and then they play the Colts as well. So you're looking at that's
I'm thinking about
schedule.
the Jets. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, but at the end of the day, 3 home games in December. Serby. So that's that gauge you're talking about if there's going to be butts in the seats. It was a packed house, I felt like, at the beginning of the game on Sunday. But then after, I guess, that Tyrone Tracy Jr. fumble, or I think it was a Bucs touchdown, you just saw people get up and start leaving. Serby, you've covered both New York football teams for a long time, my man. You've seen the
look at my hair. Look what color my hair is.
Look what color my beard is, and I've been covering this team for a couple years, man. So what would you say is the state of the franchise with the New York Football Giants right now?
I would describe them as a ship in distress and lost at sea. Losers of 6 straight, 2-9. Daboll is 8-20 in his last 28 games. What they need, what they're crying out for, and the only thing that would save this regime is the fact that they are desperately searching for a franchise quarterback. Eli Manning spoiled all of us in the media and in the organization, never missing a game. The guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but that's a different story. But the Giants thought Daniel Jones would be their Eli Manning, and there were early signs that he could be, but beyond the perfect temperament for New York, he failed. He could not be Eli Manning, and very few will be able to. But the Giants are going to have to draft a quarterback or at least find a stopgap. And boy, does Joe Schoen and John Mara and Brian Daboll wish that they had managed to convince the Patriots to give up that 3rd overall pick for Drake May, because the franchise would feel a lot better with Drake May as their quarterback right now. So what's really got to be gut-wrenching for John Mara is all of this is happening in the 100th year anniversary of the New York Football Giants. And instead, he gets to hear players talking about how soft they are on the field. And, you know, you can't fire all the players, right? I don't want Brian Daboll fired. I like Brian Daboll. I think he's a good coach. But, yes, he's got to get the ball into the hands of Malik Neighbors early, which he admitted today he needs to do. And I don't want to see him going 4th and 1 at his 37, down 7-0 in the first quarter. I understand he's desperate for a spark, but that's a panic move. I didn't like that. So, yeah, trouble in River City indeed.
I'll put that one on the players, though, Serby. 4th and 1, you try to get some sort of stop. It's 4th and 1. It was, and they had the 3rd and 1. So that's 2 downs and 1 yard. That's something as players we got to own up to. You got to make that block, hold on to it. If you're Wandale, you got to put the foot in the ground and get that first down. We got to make that call right, because I feel like it goes back to when Brian Daboll was Brian Daboll's, and he ran that. They went for 2 at Tennessee, and they Saquon Barkley overcame a guy that came through unblocked and got the 2-point conversion. So it's make me right here, fellas.
Well, yeah, but a jet sweep with Wan'Dale Robinson, I'm not so sure about that call. But again, 4th and 1, I understand you've lost 5 in a row. You need a spark. Yeah. That's why you turned to DeVito. But there was no need to go for it because they ended up coughing up a field goal, and it was 10-0, and it was sliding in the wrong direction at that point. Now, that wouldn't have made a difference the way the Giants played yesterday. Yeah. That one call did not make a difference. But look, Brian Daboll's got to grab hold of this team and grab hold of it now, and let's see some pride. Yeah. Let's see some pride in that locker room. It's not all Brian Daboll by any means. I'm not saying that, but show some pride in Dallas or in Arlington, in Jerry's house. It's bad enough to be embarrassed in front of your own fans where you haven't won a game all season, 0-6. But on national TV, do you want to show up as a laughingstock? Maybe I have an idea. What do you think of this, Brandon? Call up Strahan, call up LT, call up Harry Carson, fly them in, and give them a tongue lashing before this next game. What do you think of that?
I mean, at the end of the day, you can fly in Obama to try and get these guys motivated. It comes down to your will. Do you want to? Because we talked about all the missed tackles yesterday. Tackling.
Brandon, I'm trying to help. Oh,
I know what you're saying, but it's an accountability thing, man. Like, as a coach's son, I've been on both sides of it. I see how coaches can try and motivate and try and get players going. They got a DJ at practice on Fridays to feel good, get right going into the game. You had a great week of practice going into the game. But like Plaxico Burress used to say about blocking, we don't need to do blocking drills. Blocking is all effort. It's the same thing when it comes to tackling. Effort. And I think that's what this fan base wants to see. That's what the coaching staff, Mr. Mara, and I guess the media as well wants to see, the effort and the pride. And so,
well, look, yes, but Brian Daboll was coach of the year only 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So he needs to be that person, that coach, starting right now in these next 6 games. If he gets to coach these last 6 games, I hope he does. Because he was coach of the year. Why? He put the players in their best position to succeed. Yep. He got the best out of Daniel Jones, and he had Saquon Barkley. But that's another story. And he motivated. He was a good, if not great, motivator. Let's see that coach of the year pop up again, or else.
Right. We got to end that right there, Serby. I love it, man. Thank you for hopping on with us.
Anytime. Thank you, Brandon.